What's up, Jay? How you doing, man? Sound should be working. Let me know if it doesn't work. Let me know if you can hear me. Alright, awesome. That's good to know. I'm just gonna give it a couple more minutes. Kinda just wanna see how price plays out for now. See if there's any trades out here. I think this was just a crazy move down. We've had what, 300 pips. Sorry, 3,000 pips just today from London. I want to see. So, I mean, I think from my streams from a few weeks ago, weekly outlooks, I've been aiming for lower, so I can kind of recap that. I still am, by the way. Let me just change that. Okay, so there was this daily fair value gap over here after that initial dump. And then we had this range, and man, that color is really bothering me. Hold on. All right. Yeah, so we had this range over here, and while we were in this range, I was saying, you know, it's tough for me to have a bias in a range, but as long as this daily fair value gap held, I was aiming for, you know, another leg down, right? If we closed above, I also mentioned that I wanted to see price come up to this region. That didn't mean that I was expecting all-time highs right away. And the main reason that I gave was because I felt that there was not enough, like, you know, you usually don't have the end of a down move after a crazy run up like this for gold, unless there's real panic that begins to settle in, and then extreme indifference where people are just no longer talking about it, right? And I think the best example to give of that is Bitcoin. The cycles always start when people least expect it, right? And when people think that the down move is done, it really isn't, right? As long as that euphoria is still there, we're probably going to continue to go lower. So that's what I was saying. So I didn't expect new all-time highs. I expected maybe price to come up to this region, the 53, 54, and then reassess from there. So we got that manipulation higher at the beginning of the month, came back down, and I remember last week we had this 4-hour range, and I specifically was talking about if we come up and just hang up there without following through, it's most likely a manipulation. That's exactly what happened, right? We came back up into this little blue region, which was a daily fair value gap from after this initial dump. So I'll just keep that labeled. All right, we came back into it. There was that manipulation over here for a little bit, and then we moved down. Right, it was pretty clean. We just started. I mean, this was tricky to trade, and I think this was probably when I had my last stream as well, when we were doing this. It was about a week ago. Yeah, but then after that, we started displacing lower, basically showing that there's real momentum behind the move, right? So I've been bearish since on gold, first targeting these lows, then those lows, and now I'm targeting these lows next, 4,400. We have already had, like I mentioned, a 3,000 pip dump today. So I don't know if we're going to go hit that today or maybe the start of next week or maybe tomorrow, but this is a target. Ultimately, I think we go to this little volume imbalance as well down there. Right, and then I want to see us bottom Like I don't want to see gold go down below this level, 3,900. That is gonna be, you know, the like yeah. I really hope that that's the bottom. But we'll reassess. Right. I've been saying that 3,900 is my level. I don't want to see it go lower than that. And then same thing with silver. So I still have a level mark. This red zone. I want to see that low taken, and I want to kind of see price bottom out and form a range over here before we really begin to see the next leg higher, right? But silver was way cleaner than gold, right? And you could tell there was really no strength. We swept those highs into this fair value gap. Then you got that move down right away. Price comes back up. Let's take a look at that. Price came back up into a premium. Right, so you see price comes back up into a premium, into that order block. And then yeah, we started going down. We started shifting market structure, lower high, followed by that engulfing candle. Right, so this was pretty clean. When we came up into the premium and we got rejected, price comes up into a lower high. Comes up and forms a lower high, forms an engulfing right there. You know, another one right here. Right, you notice, where does this come back to? It comes back and retests this order block. Right, falls down sideways. When do we know that price is ready to go down again? Another engulfing candle, right? Kind of signaling that, okay, continuation is likely coming. And now this is just straight lower. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't followed the news today. I'm pretty sure something's going on with the, you know, geopolitical issue in the Middle East. Usually I'm watching stuff every day, but I haven't had the time the last couple of days, so I don't know if there's any update over there, and which might be the reason for this move lower on gold and silver. But yeah, I'll go check it out a little later. So yeah, I am that's not me saying that I expect this to go straight lower, but overall, yeah, I'm still targeting those 4,400 lows, and then eventually down to 4,300. But I want to see 3,900 kind of be the bottom. You know, do we have any more gaps down here? I don't think so. I think that would be the last one as well. So usually what happens is you see how many gaps gold left behind on this move higher. We had this one over here that wasn't filled. This one. This one. This one. There were like a bunch, right? And I think we're all kind of conditioned, myself included, to think that the gap's going to get filled as soon as possible. But when you've got this, I think this is kind of what gold taught me, right? When you've got this crazy move up, you're going to have one heck of a dump that eventually closes all them gaps. And so I think that's the last one that I can see that hasn't been filled. But we also have these equal lows down here. But yeah, like I said, 3,900, don't want to see it go below that. So we also did just open a new 4-hour candle. 9 a.m. candle. So we'll see if we get anything at 9:30. But keep in mind, we've already had a crazy expansion lower today. So it's going to be really tricky, right? So I don't know. While we wait for that, I think I'm going to talk more about what I've been discussing, that I was going to talk about support and resistance levels. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, just put it down in the comment. You know, I got it open. And yeah, you know, I'm happy to share whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna try to break this down into two, because I identify, this might sound stupid to some, but I identify support and resistance levels a little differently, based on what I'm trying to trade or what chart I'm looking at, right? If I look at crypto, I like using the open and close a lot. The opening price, the closing price, more than the wicks, more than the highs and the lows. Yes, over here I kind of have this marked out, so that doesn't mean I don't use it. I do, but I like using the open and the close a lot more. Right, but we'll stick to gold for now, where I do like to use the wicks. I'm gonna try to find a good example because I think it's a good way. This is a good thing to use when you have a trending market. Um, yeah. So maybe try to look at these two levels, right? So once price kind of broke down from this accumulation, we had this manipulation, and now we've got this distribution lower, right? What I like to do is the leg that forms the lower high, right? That's going to be my area. So for example, this was the bottom of the leg that eventually went up to form this lower high, right? The bottom of that leg, that's really going to be the area of my resistance. So it's not a one specific line, it's more a little area, right? So for example, this bit, you can do this, you can do this. Honestly, it's up to you. I kind of look at that whole zone. You got to play around with it a little bit. It's not always going to be, oh, there's one way to do it written in 10 words in one sentence. No, I feel like you got to play around with it a little bit, right? Then we had this low, right? When we went up to form this lower high before then breaking down. Right, so that's why I have kind of this level mark. Now, the reason I extended this lower is because we've got a bunch of, this is like I'm on a 1 hour right now, but you see how like the higher time frame probably bounced from this level several times. One over here, over here, over here, right? We had this range. So basically the bottom of this range put together with this last level together comes to form my new resistance level now. And so when price comes down and breaks through it like this, I really don't want to see it trade back up above this level, right? And that's where I'm looking for my reactions. It's honestly like, yeah, it works really well, and it keeps it simple. Same thing happened here, right? This was the low before we formed that high, and you notice that's where we get rejected before going back lower. This is one way I do it. Another way that I like to do it is if I'm expecting an expansion, then using previous day levels is really helpful. And this actually happened perfectly yesterday. So let's take a look at oops, I don't want to use the replay mode. Let's take a look at yesterday's price action. So what I just marked, this blue line, is the previous, not yesterday's. Yesterday was what? Yesterday was Wednesday. This is Tuesday's low. Wait, oh, never mind. I'll just label it here. Okay, so that's Tuesday's low, and it was formed over here. Then you have Wednesday where, for the most part, price is just ranging during Asia, and then London comes up, forms these equal highs before FOMC. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw these two highs form yesterday, I told the couple of people who are doing the mentorships with me that I wanted to see this high swept maybe during FOMC, because FOMC can be a very choppy liquidation event, right? Where you get wicks on both ends before the real move. And that happens with NFP, CPI as well. So I wanted to see that, but then going into New York, we just kept trending lower, right? And I think if you guys have followed some of my shorts from YouTube, you'll have seen that one of my favorite levels to trade is previous day levels, right? And so when we broke down right here, notice how price comes back and retests it, right? So this is a clean example of a support level from a daily time frame, right? Because even though I'm on a 5-minute time frame, the truth is this level comes from the previous day's low. So it is a previous day's support, right? And so when price breaks down, come back up, there's the perfect retest. You got that engulfing candle as the reaction confirming it, and it's you don't even have to catch all of those pips, but this was such a clean 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio on the candle closure if you wanted it, or even if you targeted new lows, that was 1.9 RR, right? So this is another way you could use support and resistance levels. You've got a bunch of people who come up, try to correct you. Oh, support is this, resistance is that. It's a level, it's a zone. It's the same as supply and demand. It's this. Like, it doesn't matter. what people want to call it. I think you got to keep in mind that everybody's ways is slightly different, and really what matters is what works for you, right? Because you could have 5 different people looking at the same chart, taking the same position for 5 different reasons. You know, and they're all, who cares, right? If that has consistently shown to give you an edge, that's what matters. Doesn't matter what terminology you use or what explanation you give, as long as you can capitalize. So that was the previous day, but yeah, obviously it went down like 1,000 more pips, which is pretty insane. And then same thing today. If we come back up, retested this. So this was Asia session today. I know it says Wednesday, but it's Wednesday Eastern time, but it's actually today's trading day. Comes back up into this order block and then immediately expands lower during London. And so if we look at the 15-minute time frame, I think this was what I sent out to Telegram earlier today. The 4-hour candle opens at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So when it opened, once it started showing that move lower, right? You start seeing the trend. You can easily just look for the engulfing as a reaction that, hey, you know, we're ready to continue lower, right? Off of that, it's pretty easy to then be like, okay, because I'm expecting lower. I mean, you look at the 4-hour, right? Comes back up, retested that order block. Now you're expecting an expansion lower. Now in the 15-minute time frame, it's giving you that confirmation that it's ready to move lower. You can then take that. Okay, so there's just something to keep in mind. You notice again how this wick. So let me just get rid of a few things here. This area was basically the last low before we put in the lower high, right? You could put that with that wick. When you've got really long wicks like this, I don't really like them. I don't really like them all the time, but you know, this whole area, that's where I'm looking for that lower high to form, right? Price comes up, lower high forms, and then now London starts beginning to trend lower, and that's your confirmation. All right, so there's a bunch of things in there, but let's see if you know, this shows anything, because the 4-hour opened up. No, wait, this was the 840 candle actually. Yeah, went down right away. This is, you see how there's no wick here? Usually that gets filled out, and I'm not taking credit for that. I learned that off trader named Finesse. Usually candles that don't have wicks, they're nice liquidity levels that tend to get tapped a little later on during the day. We'll see how that plays out. I'm just gonna check out some other pairs really quickly, see if there's anything there, because gold is already expanded lower today, like significantly. So I mean, silver's down 10%, gold's down 5.5%. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, so weekly target for me was this level. We've already swept that. I do want to see us go up to these highs though, to be honest. We'll see if that happens. This is our breaker right here, right? That we want to see hold. So this is the level that I want to see respected. And if we can do that, then maybe tomorrow is going to give us a nice move for those highs. So let's see what Euro's doing. See, if I had to pick which one to trade between GU and EU in response to the dollar right now, it'd be EU. It just seems weaker. Well, okay, maybe not. Well, on the monthly, what I like about GU though is that we're in this monthly fair value gap. I really want to see it respected. I don't know, why did I think maybe I was looking at a different chart. I initially thought EU was weaker, but no, we actually had this better displacement higher. I do think we sweep these lows, though, yeah, before we push up again. Let's see how this trend has been like. Another way you can identify support resistance. You see where these last highs are made. Price goes up, breaks back down. So those same highs, when price comes back to it, usually is going to match with some of the lows. That's going to be resistance. Okay, price comes up here a little bit. That's why you don't blindly short resistance. You wait for a confirmation, right, or a reaction that it's actually ready to respect it and move lower. And so, for example, this 4-hour candle, that tells you that. So then you can look for, when price comes back up and retest this, right? That's going to be your previous support that's now flipped resistance. Price comes up over here, retest it, and then continues lower. Right? Same thing here. You see how this was the low, right? Matches with these highs over here. So price comes back down, comes back and retests it, and then finally pushes lower, right? Now what's the last low before this leg down? That's this right here, right? You see, I mean, it's not perfect, but it comes up, retests it. Reaction with the engulfing candle. Retest of that or block, and then pushes lower. And so it's the same signatures over and over again. As long as you've got structure, it's honestly not too difficult to find. Let's take a look at how Nasdaq's been doing. Just remember how I was calling for this low for a long time on Nas. We took it out last week. And now price comes back up. So this always happens right after a liquidity sweep. When you get a leg lower, price loves to come back up into a premium. I just showed you an example with gold. Same thing with Nasdaq. That. Now we got a little engulfing candle forming here. There's just no reason to be bullish right now on this one either. pretty sure we're going straight for those lows. Wouldn't even be surprised. Oh wait, no, yeah, my bad. Nasdaq opens a new 4-hour candle at 10, not at 9 like gold. Yeah, 9 o'clock 4-hour open is for gold, not Nasdaq. Yeah, I'm still expecting price to go up there. Maybe even sweep these highs over here. I know if we get a VU reversal, but look, if I were a betting man, right, I want to see now this we just got a change in the state of delivery, or basically your engulfing candle. If I were a betting man, no, hold on. Yeah, I would want to see this go up like right now. So I'm going to try this out myself to that high. Let's give it a go. Yeah, that looks ugly as hell. I'll just keep that on there just because I want to see how it does play out. But like I said, anything today would have been super risky either way just because of the expansion that gold has already had. See that though? It's pretty nuts how we're like basically going up and down hundreds of pips in a minute. Let's see, I still, like I said, I do have this open. I'm not a super big fan of it just because of the expansion, but I'm just, why not, right? I'll probably be really quick to move my stops though if we can start taking out a couple of highs on the way. We really only got this one. I think if we get past this one, then it's not too far to get there. Yeah, like I would probably start moving my stops if we get up above 50.90. I don't know if we're gonna get there though. I really don't. We just got this chop, and gold's in super tricky conditions. I'm just trying to keep my eye on Nas. I think the gold got stopped out. Yeah, took out those lows. I might give it one more go in a minute. I want to wait and see though. Yeah, I might give it one more minute because I do think we go sweep a couple of highs. I'm honestly just waiting to see now if there's gonna be a nice setup. What would be ideal is if we swept these lows. So we did something like this to go for those highs right there. That would be really nice for me to look for an entry actually. So just waiting to see if we get that. would be interesting to see if NASDAQ can change that into an inversion. No, we'll wait and see. If it does, we'll probably go out and take out a few highs. I mean, 1 minute already closed above it. 2. Yeah, so ideally that's going to be respected for me as we go up those highs, maybe up until this one. I am taking this on NASDAQ though. I had this. Oh. Those highs right there. See if that works out. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for NQ. Oh, NAS 100 is the CFD version. I want to see, so this is basically your IFVG. I want to see that hold. I'm still flat on gold. We swept those lows, but nothing there. Oh. We are approaching that 10 a.m. macro though, so hopefully we get the move. It's 9:45 right now. We got about 5 minutes till it starts. Yes, it did just hit this fair value gap right on the 5 minute. Still nothing on gold. Just sticking to this for now. Yeah, I really don't like how it's disrespecting that fair value gap on the 1 minute. But I'm just gonna let this play out. If it doesn't work, pretty much done for the day. But let's see. Would like to see this. This would be a nice reaction. Okay, this is looking better now. Well, gold honestly had a nice reaction too after sweeping those lows. But I don't know if I want to be exposed on two assets at the same time. I still think we're gonna go run out those highs, but I'm already in a trade, so I'm gonna stay with this one for now. If we close like this in the next 30 seconds, I will move my stop up here. We're looking good for now, though. Same with gold. Nice reaction, but I'm not taking a second one on this. It's just too choppy, and I'm already exposed on NASDAQ, so I'm not going to take two trades. All right, moving my stop. Yeah, just waiting for that. Really don't want to see one of them. Don't want this to be the manipulation. I am gonna take, you know what? Yeah, I am gonna take some partial. Like, by the way, I'm on MetaTrader, which is why like the position itself isn't shown here. but I took a little bit of partials. But I mean, you guys, whatever it is, you want to believe, don't want to believe, it's not really my problem. I put out the trade here, like I called it. The loss, the wins. I try to be as transparent about it, right? I'm not going to take it off or whatever. I just want to be transparent about it. More than anything, I do this for me, just to hold myself accountable. But yeah, I did take some partials, like I mentioned. Let's see, my final ones up here at these highs. Look at how gold's doing. Yeah, it broke up above. I really think gold's gonna go to those levels next. Yeah, there you go. Gold's starting to push, right? I'm telling you, these highs coming next. Yeah, gold making that move. Alright, I just pretty much closed NQ, and that's the trade. That is the trade. Alright, so we lost our first gold one. We won the NQ one. I'm gonna take that. Alright, with that being said, I am now going to end the stream. I'm done for the night. And thank you to whoever who joined.